Hey, what is up, you guys? Welcome to Otaku, back again doing more Tezuka contest manga reviews. We're doing 3 more viewer submissions this week. We're starting with At Bat. That's by Zach Hatling, who's a returning contestant to this contest. He did Owl, which is a previous one that we've read. That one didn't win, so can he get it with attempt number 2? Then we're going to do Neo-Genitos, and that's story by Seven, art by Igizar. I hope I'm saying that right. And then we're going to finish it up with Arena Fighters by James Nash. So we're just going to go ahead and hop right into it. I'm going to assume everybody knows what the competition is. We're going to start with At Bat by Zach Hatling, which a.k.a. Lord Gaius, which I believe is the name he used on the last one. So, baseball manga. All right, we're doing a sports one, and it's actually a sports one, unlike the sci-fi one that we read last week.
Still on that sports high.
So, the manga is about a young boy named Benjamin Oliver Frost, usually just referred to as Benjamin Frost, who's the first baseman for the Angel Grove High Macedon, which is a Power Rangers reference. In his 30 at-bats this season, he's achieved 0 hits and 30 strikeouts. We meet his brother Robin Frost, who loves doing older brother things like torturing the shit out of Benjamin over how bad he is at baseball. We never really get to see any sort of proof or that he's on a team. I'm talking his older brother or anything like that, but his mom suggests that Oliver asks him for help, but he just can't swallow his pride and do it. He doesn't want to go down that road. Later, we get to see that Oliver is a bit of an artist here, and he's been practicing, learning from other artists, and just earnestly trying to improve his art. Because of this, he finally comes to the realization that it is time to swallow his pride and just finally ask his brother for help. Oliver was expecting to get the classic older brother maneuver and just be like, oh, you finally came for me for help. But his brother's just like, okay, it's like, I'll teach you. Come outside, which total class act move from his brother. They eventually go out and they find out that the only advice that Oliver's coach has been giving him is just the classic keep your eye on the ball, which if you've played any baseball at all, you heard that advice. Mm-hmm. His brother immediately calls that out and goes, oh, so he's an idiot. Robin, who is his older brother, then explains that in his mind, batting consists of 3 main elements: timing, form, and bat position, which is listed in order of importance according to Robin. And keeping your eye on the ball only helps with the timing aspect, but that's it. At most, with that advice alone, you'll just barely be able to dink the ball. He explains what Benjamin really needs is a sort of metronome, which is the ability of taking what was an abstract stream of motion and using it to turn that into a single identifiable segment. And he says that's breaking down time. Robin then teaches him a new stance that involves tapping his foot in order to kind of create this self-metronome that he could use. Then Robin winds up saying he's going to pitch it at full speed towards Benjamin. He throws it, Benjamin slams his foot down, and we get a fucking actually spectacular 2-page art spread of him just whacking the ball with his bat, which was just fantastic. 1 week later now, Benjamin is at another game. He's prepping himself, kind of mentally hyping himself up, like, oh, I'm going to be so cool when I hit this ball. It's like never hit one. It's going to be fucking awesome. As he's warming up, the coach notices that he has a new stance and basically tells him, like, yeah, you don't need that stance. Just keep your eye on the ball. You'll be fine. Also, if you use that weird stance, you'll embarrass your teammates and me, so I would prefer if you wouldn't. Benjamin kind of swallows his pride and goes like, okay, sure. So he goes up to bat using the old classic baseball stance. Strike 1, strike 2, and then on the 3rd hit, he's just barely able to dink the ball. He goes to run but gets tagged out immediately. He goes to the dugout, and his coach kind of tries to give him like, oh, you tipped the ball. Isn't that good? But he's in like complete blue lock mode. You know, like he's wants nothing to do with the coach and ignores the fuck out of him. So now,
got the eyes.
Yeah, seriously. So now the Macedon is on defense, and we learn that apparently Benjamin is incredible on defense because he sucks at hitting, but his defense is absolutely fantastic. So now we're in the bottom of the 5th. Angel Grove High Macedons have 2 points. Corinth City High Engines, but I don't know if that's a reference to anything, has 4. And Angel Grove has runners on 2nd and 3rd. And of course, next up is our boy Ben Frost. This time, on his way out of the dugout, he yells, "Coach, let me hit how I want." And the coach folds at this point and is like, fine, see what it'll get you. He kind of thinks he's setting him up. Like, yeah, do your stupid stance and let's see what happens. Benjamin now goes up using his new stance. His teammates, which they seem like good people, immediately notice, like, hey, is he doing something different? Is that a new stance? First pitch comes flying in, and Benjamin is able to track the ball using his foot tapping metronome that he's established, slams down his foot again, and fucking sends the ball flying. Home run. First hit ever, home run, sends the Mastodons into the lead with 5-4. Benjamin then goes back to the dugout where he's kind of like being celebrated by his teammates because he actually fucking hit a ball and it's a home run. The coach doesn't even look at him and just says, "Hey, Ben, nice hit," which Benjamin, he's a good guy. He's like, "Oh, thanks, coach." But then he kind of looks towards the stands to where his older brother is. They make eye contact and smiled, and Benjamin thinks like, "Thanks, coach." Like he's the true coach. And that's the end of the manga. So obviously I want to say that was obviously a summary. There's a lot more in depth to the baseball and like they go in and out of what he really thinks and how hitting a ball and all that stuff. So go back and read this one if you like baseball. I'm starting to learn that I might like sports manga quite a bit. It's like
they're different, right?
Yeah,
no, they're great.
It's like it's a nice because I feel like sports manga is very close to a shonen like battle manga, very close, but they're just not fucking each other up.
Yeah, very much so.
Like that whole Echo scene where he's like tapping to get the fucking feel. Like, oh my god, that's so fucking cool.
That's something out of like Avatar.
Yeah, it's really good. It was like when Toph does her thing. That's exactly. And it was just like the whole time through, I was like, oh, this is really good. I'm really enjoying this. And I gotta say, so the art is really good. I thought some of the character designs at rest were kind of like for me. But
the action.
Like the actions was really good, and then the eyes. Whenever he went in on the eyes, I was like, "Oh fuck, okay, like that looks really good."
Do you think he read Blue Lock? Because
I don't know.
I haven't personally watched Haikyuu,
but it could
so
be a bit of Haikyuu. It could be Haikyuu's much more popular, so it could be a bit of Haikyuu. I haven't seen Slam Dunk, so I can't comment on that, but it is very, very good.
Because some of the eyes, and I'm just going purely off reading Blue Lock, like he does that fucking like I'm gonna kill this ball
monster
thing.
mode.
And like so we know dope. He's good at the author is good doing art because I remember in Owl he had the one the two sprays with like sequence. The Cthulhu moment.
Oh,
like, fuck, that was good. It was like holy shit. So we know he's good. Another kind of weird. I felt like the art stuff was a little weird where we like watching him practice his drawing. I'm talking about like in character, like the art's fantastic. That was a little weird, but I get the point they were trying to put across. And then the brief part we got where it's like, oh, he's really good at defense. It's like, did we need to know that he was good at defense? Like that would be a cool reveal for later, I feel like. But it is a one shot, so you kind of need to put all of your shit on the table.
And it's nice to know like there was a reason he's on the team other than to be like made fun of. Like he is good at something, but now he's good at both things. Presumably,
he wasn't a striker before.
Yeah,
but
he was told
if you're in Blue Lock, you want to be a striker.
But it just seemed like a last, like like oh yeah, it's like he's got this guy. We just leave him on the team, whatever. And it's like oh yeah, by the way, he's incredible at defense. It's like oh okay, it's like sure. But yeah, I thought it was very good all the way around. And like, we don't know, I mentioned in the summary, we don't know anything about his older brother. He's just apparently a fucking god at baseball. Yeah. It's like, yeah, let me teach you this super secret technique. Here you go. And it's like, yeah, how does he know that?
Who's that?
It's like, who is this guy? He's just a fucking fantastic.
Yeah.
He's going to play on another team and he's going to be completely masked. And then they're going to play against each other and stuff. And he's going to be like, nah.
So, I mean, let's get down to the nitty-gritty details here. Does this take place in the Power Ranger universe? I mean, that's the question that we need to be asking here.
It could potentially, right? Angel Grove.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Was their mascot the Mammoths?
No, but Mastodon is one of the Power Ranger animals.
Yeah, it's the Black Ranger.
Yeah.
So good call on that. I completely missed up that. But fuck,
really? That's the first thing I noticed. I was like, oh, Angel Grove.
Immediately like, oh, okay, cool. So, I mean, all in all, that was pretty good. Yeah. Okay, so let's call it on that one. That was At Bat by Zach Hattling, a.k.a. Lord Gaius is what we referred to him as last time. We're going to move on to Neo-Genitos, which is a total change in pace, and that's story by Seven, art by Igizar.
We get ancient Greece, feudal Japan, and modern Hyde City. Throughout history, subterranean beasts have erupted from the ground in the particular places. The subterranean beasts run rampant and destroy everything in their way. Their objectives are unknown, their origin uncertain, and their strength immeasurable. History doesn't tell what means the ancient civilizations used to fight these beasts, but here in Hyde City, it's the Hyde City Police Department. The last attack from the sub-beast was 5 years ago, according to them, but due to the new gear that they've got called Platinum Gear, they were able to subdue this beast, but before they could kill it, it was able to get away, going back through the ground that it came from. So that was like our little preface, and now we cut back into like real life, what's going on, and we're in the middle of the policing a fat person. The guy, rightfully so, is pissed as fuck and ends up attacking the police after letting them in, But after a little bit of manhandling, the pigs are able to capture him and take him to the OCU. During a pat down, the rookie aspirant is not able to find anything, but his commander Frazier is able to find a gun on him, which he kind of gets reprimanded for, and he ends up having to wear a dunce hat for the rest of the day. They go to the OCU and they immediately put my boy Shavers on fucking keto, and huge rep for that. The aspirant, who's now we've got his name is Silva, heads home to his daughter, who's being taken care of by their granny. It's the mother's birthday tomorrow, and the child was scolding him for having forgotten the mother's birthday, and they're working out plans for that. Cut back to work, and we find Silva and two other aspirants are training in a mock platinum gear, and they're there to basically do a team maneuver on a robot with a brand on it. And they ultimately mess up because Silva goes in for an attack and kind of just trips up. It looks like he just drops his weapon midair. They fail the exam. Then we go to the locker room where we meet Ava, who is one of the other participants, the other partners in Silva's aspirant group. And we kind of get a little back and forth. We find out that they had a past and that there's basically like a side relationship going on. But Silva denies her because it's his wife's birthday, and there's like this big gasp and everything. And he leaves all moody. The next scene we get is kind of explains why Silva was acting so strange, and we find out that his wife Akari died when she was 20 years old, and so him and his daughter Mikkel go out there to go kind of celebrate her birthday, and they give the toys and the presents and stuff that the Mikkel was talking about earlier. Then we get a cute little flashback of Akari and Silva when they were telling about their first loves. And before anything kind of happens, we cut back to Mikkel passing out on the floor, and Silva takes her home. And Silva then tells her dad, and I'm going to quote the manga here, "Get a hottie with a body and have hella kids." And then the boy Silva's like, "Oh, hell yeah, I got you." So then we're going back to the police academy, and during a lecture regarding basically that eye brand that we saw on the robot earlier, which is essentially the only weakness that they've been able to find on the subterranean beasts. It's some form of a brand that looks like an eye, and it can be like any shape or size on their body. Silva is caught kind of like falling asleep by the former commander or the commander that he almost impaled, and is sent to start doing some bucket duty. Ava wants to talk with him and is denied being able to help him in his punishment, to which she then tells the commander a bunch of searing roasts, and then she gets punished as well. So she joins him and tries to apologize. And in the process, Silva attempts to make his daughter happy by turning Ava into his waifu. But before she can take the hint, alarm goes off, and we find out that the alarm is because there's suspected sub-beasts that have broken out in the city. So the crew, Silva, Kazushi, and Ava all head out, and Silva immediately disregards his commanding officer's request to not engage the beasts, which they find are actually popping up, and it's not an earthquake. Silva immediately gets fucking manhandled by the beast. And then Kazushi and Ava try to attack, and Kazushi's knocked out. Ava and Silva go in for a combo attack and are able to harm the beast, but there's apparently like a master or somebody controlling the beast, and they weren't able to get him or her. After a combo attack of sorts, they're finally able to vanquish the beast, but then the master jumps back in, and we find out that she has captured Mikkel for some reason. In this time, she apparently was able to go all the way back to Silva's house, grab his daughter, bring her all the way back to the arena they were fighting in. And she says that she's got this girl as a bargaining chip to bring back her king. Before the heroes can do anything to retaliate, I think she either resurrects or she creates a new sub-beast and kind of does quick work with the tired heroes. Silva keeps his eyes on the prize, and then after getting knocked out and everything, he still tries to get a final booty call out of Ava, but before anything can happen, he's impaled by his own sword by the sub beast. And this was a little confusing. I initially thought a new character had entered, but it actually turns out that Silva transforms into this weird elf-like humanoid and then proceeds to mollywop the sub-beast. He does a fucking primary lotus from fucking Naruto and then knocks it out. And before it gets back up, he turns his hand into a blade by breathing on it and then stabs it in the eye brand. He then chases after this weird, mysterious assailant who fled underground. And then he finds out that this woman has merged his daughter with her nervous system, basically saying that if you hurt her, or if you hurt me, you hurt her, and if you kill me, you kill her. Silva passes out as she's running or leaving the vicinity, and we cut to him waking up in a hospital room surrounded by all his partners. A few people have been damaged. One of his other partners has an eye patch, and we find out that Hyde City was attacked by 4 sub-beasts simultaneously. And when they were defeated, though, they were turned into humanoids. One of which there's only one that's being responsive, and it was the one that Silva defeated. So Silva goes to meet up with him, but before he does anything else, he gets a kiss out of Ava. We get the classic blush. As soon as he goes in to meet this beast, he's immediately hitting the feels because this chick starts bringing up memories of his wife when she first fell in love with him, etc., etc., and is basically like, hey, your wife is alive, and so is your unnamed son. And he's like, whoa, okay, what the fuck? Then we kind of get a little bit more backstory where basically she didn't die, but she was taken away by Gygas. And they're in this other world. And she basically explains that she needs Silva to help her find her brother, who has a similar scar to her. We're not sure where it's at, and it could be on anybody. She doesn't even know what he looks like in this world. But in order to get back his wife and son, and potentially Mikkel, we need to find this person's brother. Silva then drops to his knees and says he swears to find him so that he can find his family, pretty much. So, and that's where we end. Holy shit, that was a lot. Like, it went everywhere, and it was like all really good. I still can't believe that like the first couple lines I read was about them arresting a fat person, because we went in totally different direction. Like, I don't know, man.
Yeah, that seems a little weird that they not only they're like the monster unit, but they also just handle the day to day. Like, we're gonna go
The
arrest
mundane
this fat
stuff.
guy.
Yeah, it kind of
funny?
makes sense.
It's just funny that they have like a unit for that kind of stuff.
Yeah, do you guys know your BMI?
Yes.
Yeah, would you be arrested, Jose?
No, I would not.
Josh?
Yeah, I'd be arrested.
You've
Yo,
already
did
done
you
the keto
said-
though, so that would just
I
be back
fucking-
on the old
Yeah.
horse.
And you get to meet, like, I'm assuming like everyone's thin, we're all attractive, so like the nurse seemed hot, and like one of the guys that was fucking working there was like, oh dude, she's into me.
I mean, if
Maybe
you're
That guy was
saying,
not
like,
funny.
so bad.
And they're like,
if
not
they
a
have free
chance.
healthcare, it's like just rinse and repeat the cycle over and over again, and who cares?
Yeah, it seems
that's
so
true.
weird because it did seem like a good system. Like, hey, we checked up on you, but also like that's super invasive, and they did fucking manhandle them. And at one point, they're like, "Oh, yeah, I really felt like we did good. We used the proper."
Well, why
amount
does
of
the fatty have a gun? Like, what's going on?
I
You know,
wasn't
he-
expecting that either. Okay, let's just be real. I don't understand why he had a gun. He seemed like he was very complacent from the get-go.
I feel like
after
when
he
you
got
see like an art style that's kind of similar to this, it's generally preceded by like, oh, it's gonna be some brutal, fucked up manga. Like people are
Yeah.
gonna be getting
Yeah,
chopped up or
yeah.
something. It's just the art style, and it was like the moment I saw it, I was like, oh yeah, it's gonna be some shit, I'm sure. And then
'Cause,
they start
yeah.
setting you up big time with the daughter, and they're like, oh,
It's
this
very
daughter is
comic
so
booky.
nice.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking hard. She's gonna fucking die, isn't she?
Yeah,
Like,
they set you
yeah,
up
same.
hard. They hit you with the
Yo.
daughter, and then they follow you up with Ava, who's like, oh, it's like she's really nice too. It's like, wow, are they
Yeah.
both gonna get fucked up? Like, what's gonna
Yeah.
happen?
It seems so weird. Like, yeah, you've got this very like run of the mill. We've got some weird law going on, but you know, it's pretty basic, just like a normal court ordered pickup. And then all of a sudden, beasts, and you're like, it did get to the point where they were fighting in the arena. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, I thought that's where it was gonna go down. I was like, damn, something's.
Yeah.
They're gonna be trapped. There's gonna be multiple of them. It's gonna be like Left 4 Dead.
Yeah, and the second beast, I still don't know if it was summoned or what, but the one that fucking threw Kazushi
Oh,
into
yeah.
Ava, and then he's like, Ava, I want to start my like happy ending with
Yeah,
you, or
so
something
she was
like
just
that.
a support bitch, right? Like she didn't
Yeah.
do anything, and then she gets
she used
knocked out
Red
by
Hawk.
being thrown in,
Well-
like someone thrown into her.
Okay, so yeah, she did get knocked out by having the dude that mollywopped a sub beast by himself, like, and held
Hmm.
it down. But she was the one doing the flame support, adding the flames to his weapon, which I thought was a cool power. But she was able to hold her own against the chick for a moment, and did like the fire phoenix or something like that, and
Mhm.
was able to hit her. And then it's like, hey, she has the thing on her back. Go
Well,
do
it seems
it.
like she should be doing more offense than just lighting
Yeah.
a sword on fire.
Yeah, it seemed a little rude to kind of be like, hey, the guy's got the pointy thing. Don't
Like the
do the
pointy
cool
thing is
fire
good
shit.
enough to hit the thing. You don't need the fire
Yeah.
on top of it. Like that's overkill.
And I would have been pissed too if I'm going into fucking real combat and they gave me the mock platinum gear. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, I would have been
like,
pissed too. Did you catch the One Piece references in there, Sam?
No, I didn't. But did you see? We all saw PewDiePie on the wall,
Yeah.
right? Like,
Yeah,
yeah,
that was
straight
as
up.
blatant as possible. But
which
no,
is
I didn't
so
see the One
weird.
Piece.
They crossed off the 2D 3-year one.
Oh,
That
okay.
was
so
on
that
there.
whole piece was a fucking reference. I was
Yeah,
trying to figure
and
it
then
out too.
her attack, she called it Red Hawk.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
That's
right.
Luffy's ace attack.
So like they spend a lot of this manga kind of like showing you like he's mad at Ava, but then eventually like no, okay, Ava is like let's give it a shot.
It's like
But now
he
his
likes
wife
her,
is alive.
Yeah.
Now it's all fucked and it's gonna be all weird.
So before I joined this chat, I was telling Sam, I was like, hey, can you clear something up for me? Because I went in writing down the notes and I had Mikkel as a girl. And then all of a sudden at the end, they're like, oh, your son and wife are alive. And I was like, oh,
So you
shit.
thought it was Mikkel.
So I went back and changed all the
Mikael.
fucking pronouns in there. I was like, oh, it's Michael. Fuck me. And then I was like, Sam, can you clear this up? And he's like, oh, no, it's 3 people. It's Mikkel, the son, and Akari with the wife. And I'm like, are you fucking kidding me? So it seemed kind of weird to throw the son in there out of nowhere where
Yeah.
like there was literally no prep work
Yeah,
whatsoever.
they didn't
It's like,
mention that she died while pregnant or anything, so that was like a little weird.
oh, do you think that's what it was?
I have to imagine. It's been a while.
Probably.
But so
But they did
that's-
at the end. They said that she never really died.
My boy Silva is a fuckboy though, because his wife died at 20, so they had to have gotten married. I assumed that she was telling him like, "Oh, I'm pregnant," which I was assuming like, "Oh, it's Mikkel." And then they bring the son in. I didn't think that. Oh, do you think she was pregnant with the son? We never named him.
Potentially.
Oh, dude, that's wild.
So what do you guys think about like the aspects of where this can go forward? Because like so now you're in a weird kind of like a double setting, you know, where it's like you have the main story is obviously they have to find the brother to get to the other world, right? Like that's
Yeah.
pretty much where it's going to go forward.
Yeah,
But then there's a whole other storyline now where it's like they can be in that other world forever. It's
Yeah.
like,
True.
It's like a double thing going on.
it'll
So-
be like One Piece.
Yeah,
Oh,
this
yeah.
feels like a super long one, and like the fact that like just the platinum gear alone was introduced, I feel like they could do a lot more cool shit. Now that he's like an elf person thing, or he like turns that on, he beat the shit out of that fucking sub beast. But yeah, and then we find out all of like what he is, because I'm assuming he was the same race as the chick that stole his daughter, right? Like it looked like they were one and the same kind of.
She
Probably.
had to be, right? Yeah.
And
There's a
so
lot of
I-
unanswered, so it's all.
I do agree
guesswork,
with you
yeah.
though. It's got like a lengthy boy because it's gonna be find the brother. Does the brother have all this detail? We get an exposition and then we travel to the new world. Oh, the new world's here and we got to go to fucking.
And we
the
didn't even
center of the
mention
new
his
world.
daughter's been taken as well as a
Yeah.
third possibility for story. It's like you got to go get the
Exactly.
daughter back too. So it's like
Yeah.
Silva's got a full plate.
And we
It's
still
all over
have,
the place.
I still want to know how Mr. Shavers is doing. Did he lose
I don't
all
give a
that
fuck
weight?
about Mr. Shavers. If I never see him again,
He's
I
gonna
don't
be in
care.
there for a while.
So,
Dude. But I also want to point out, and it was like kind of mild because I do think the beginning with the fat people thing was kind of funny, but there was also like little bits of humor in there.
I
That
like the
seemed
dunce
more-
cap and everything.
The dunce cap, like when
yeah, I like
the
his
girl-
his other squad much more. The first actual
squad.
police department squad. I like them a lot.
yeah.
Those guys were funny because what was it? They mentioned the nurse. He's like, "Oh, do you think she likes me?" He's like,
Yeah,
"Nah, dude."
I like them. It's
Yeah,
like,
I
that
like
was
that.
fun. It was just a couple of boys hanging out.
Yeah.
The boys.
Okay, well, let's call it on Neo-Genitos, and that was story by Seven, art by Igizar. I feel like I'm probably mispronouncing the fuck out of that guy. Sorry. Our last one we're doing is Arena Fighters by James Nash. Go ahead, Jose.
All right, sweet. First things first. We see a zookeeper kind of come in frantically, telling his other coworkers that there's some dude who just made it into the gorilla exhibit. So we cut to this masked dude in a weird looking coat, and he's straight up fighting the gorilla. So he's fighting the gorilla, and the gorilla gets the upper hand, punching him and knocks him flying straight into a tree. He makes him lose his coat, and the man stands up from the ashes. You find out this man's name is Angelo, and he is a masked fighter who's just completely obsessed with fighting. He does this really cool thing where he kind of sizes up the gorilla, figures out his stance, and is like, all right, let's go, bring it on. And I gotta say, I really like the fight scenes in this, very clean for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so he starts kind of like going toe to toe with the gorilla, and eventually he gets the upper hand and is like, nah, bitch, and then knocks the gorilla out. So as this happens, there's already a crowd of people, they're all gathered, and then some very, very big muscular dude comes in with a sweet stash, and it's another zookeeper. And he makes this pretty grand entrance, and he's like, yo, me and you, we're gonna fight, you hurt my buddy, let's get it on. He introduces himself. Damn, I don't
It's
remember
Griffin
where I put
Keys.
his name. Yeah, Griffin. They're about to start fighting, and he's like, "Oh, you hurt my gorilla." He's like, "My friend." He's like, "So I'm gonna beat your ass." Angelo is just like, not really interested, but once he realizes that the zookeeper's been there for about 33 years and stuff, he's like, "Oh, you've mastered all the animal fighting styles. All right, this could be interesting. Let's do this." So they go into the fight, which is pretty cool. They're going pretty toe to toe for a bit of it, and Angelo's being a very cocky kid. You see his left hand kind of glow red, and I'm talking about Griffin, and he uses a base like a tiger technique, to which Griffin imitates the same styles as the gorilla that he used to beat the gorilla, but eventually gets the upper hand and knocks the fuck out of the zookeeper. Angelo, not being too impressed with this, is just like, all right, whatever, and pretty much dips out. Immediately, though, he's walking down an alley, and this creepy looking dude is like, hey, man, he's like, I got an offer for you. How would you like to join this tournament? And he's basically saying that this is going to be a tournament where he can fight guys that are a lot stronger than the zookeeper was. He's like, just meet me at midnight. It pays about a billion yen. And he's like, all right, yeah, sure, I'm in. Not much convincing there since the man is a glutton for fighting. Finally, it's midnight. He shows up, but he's actually a little late. So the guy's like, "Hey, you better hurry your ass up in there. Ceremony's about to start." As he walks into the kind of like a giant hall, or like where they would have a concert or something.
This is
And
where I
there's
started
just
playing Where's Waldo.
yeah, there's tons of different fighters in there. It's crazy, and he's excited. He's sizing up everybody. He's just like, "Oh my God, these guys are super cool." But he accidentally bumps into this one guy who's a very intense person. He's just kind of like gun ho, and he's just like, "Yo, who bumped into me? I'm gonna beat your ass." To which, whenever you hear someone about to start a fight, what's the normal thing you do? You form a circle around
World
him and start chanting.
Star, World Star.
The fighter introduces himself, and I don't think I wrote down his name. He has a very oh no, it's
Agio.
Agio. Yeah. But immediately rips his shirt off. He has kind of a cool Bara hairstyle from Yu Yu Hakusho. And again, Angelo, being the cocky guy that he is like, this may or may not be worth the fight, kind of thing. It's so they start fighting, and everything is kind of normal. They're he's dodging punches and back and forth. But he notices that things kind of start to happen as he lands a punch and then another punch, and Angelo realizes that that Agio is actually moving faster, and he's actually increasing his speed as the fight continues. Now, I don't know if it's per punch that he throws or if it's just an ability that he has, but Agio starts landing more punches, and he's basically beating the shit out of Angelo. At this point, Agio says, "Hey, man, if you can't beat me, you're not gonna survive around here. You might as well just get the hell out of here." And so at this point, and I like the little text bubbles that he creates where it's like 175 speed, then it goes to 200, and then right as he's about to finish him with a 385% speed hit, he is caught by, I think it's his sister, maybe his brother. It's his younger sibling, and they basically say, "Hey, he's kind of an idiot, but he's right. If you can't beat him, you're pretty outclassed here. I recommend you find this dude and dip the hell out of here." But then it cuts to them being recorded or behind a security feed, and there's someone saying, "All right, that's everybody." He's like, "I think it's time we start the show." And that's pretty much where it ends.
This one felt so quick. I was like
Mhm.
reading it. I was like, man, it was like that was a quick 55 or whatever. It's like
Right?
it just flew.
I think
I
it was
think-
all the action scenes.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It was super well animated too.
It
I
was.
liked
It was like a lot of the times our big complaints are like, oh, the fight scenes are kind of hard to follow, whatever. Like I thought they did a really good job, and that's specifically what you were talking about, where they were showing him increasing with speed with each punch, and they had like the multiple things in there. It's like that was really well done. That was a good job.
I like that a lot. It's pretty like short and simple, where it's like you meet I'm assuming the hero or the MC, and he just kind of likes to fight, and goes through this thing where he just goes through crazy. He goes through a gorilla, then he goes through a giant zookeeper, and then finally meets someone that's better than him.
And I feel like the art style was pretty unique. Like it's
Yeah.
not like stereotypical anime, but it's got a kind of like a funky little art style to it that works really well.
It
It
reminded
felt-
me a bit of Mirio.
Oh yeah.
The way like Mirio looks.
So where does it go? So like let's think, right? He's on a boat now. Let's say the
Mhm.
boat takes off and now they're just having a giant tournament. Like it's just like, all right, last one on the boat wins. It kind of reminds me of there's this anime called Kaiji, I think is what it's called. I hope that's right. Where this guy, they gather a bunch of people who are super in debt and they make them play in like a fucking gambling tournament to pay off all of their
Ooh.
debt.
It's
And
gnarly.
they all meet up on a boat like this too, and they're like, "All right, you got till midnight. We're gonna knock this shit out. Best of luck. Whoever wins gets all their debt erased."
This reminded me a bit of Yu-Gi-Oh! Also, where they get on the boat
Yeah.
to go to the island. Yeah, and they do the same in Yu Yu Hakusho, where they get a boat and then they get on an island and then it's
So yeah,
tournament.
maybe they're going to some sort of an island, but I was all for it because everybody knows the best part is a tournament arc, and it's like
Yes.
we're gonna kick it off ground level tournament arc. Let's go.
But what's the equivalent of Bandit King throwing all of the cards over the boat?
Yeah,
How
that's
do
a
we do
great
that in
question. I
fighting?
don't know.
Yeah.
Do
I don't
we
know.
lop his fucking hands off and throw him in? We
Throw
take
his
mask?
outfit.
They take his
That could
mask
be
off,
it.
Yeah.
He's a luchador. If he take his mask
Yeah.
off,
So
he
does
loses his honor.
our MC like is his ability that he can kind of learn the fighting styles as he goes? Because that's why he was fighting the gorilla.
think
He was
so.
trying to learn
I-
the fighting style of the gorilla.
Mhm.
Yeah, during all that, I skipped the part where he kind of analyzes the
Mhm.
gorilla and then copies him, and immediately he's like, "All right, I can do gorilla
But like he didn't try to I thought that was really cool, but then he didn't try to learn the Griffin's
zookeeper,
fighting
yeah.
style, and it's like he knows all the animals, and I was like,
I
oh,
like-
cool.
yeah.
And then he just doesn't mention ever trying to learn it. He just beats Griffin's ass.
Yeah,
I know when he learns the ape technique or the gorilla stuff, he's like, "Oh, this is useless. Like, I'll never use this."
yeah.
fighting
Like
style."
at the end of it, he's just like, "Oh, this was a waste of time."
So he could probably feel like, "Oh, hey, I was able to beat Griffin. Like fuck him."
But like if you can merge the animal styles together, he can make it like a
True.
better version, But he didn't
He
even
could
try.
Animal King Fist.
So I don't know if
But-
that's like his ability or not, or if it's just something he was trying to learn.
Maybe he
in the
just
moment.
hasn't unlocked his ability just yet.
But
He's
he,
just
he
like an
likes
excellent
fighting,
fighter.
and they
Yeah.
set it up in a good way where it's like they show you he's outclassed, and then that guy that's outclassing him is even more outclassed by somebody else because he gets knocked the fuck out. And it's like,
Mhm.
oh, okay, fuck. It's like, yeah, this really is full of strong people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I like that thing he does at the end, and I didn't mention it, where he kind of clenches his fist and he
Mhm.
kind of does the thing where he makes a promise to himself. He's like, "Oh, I'm gonna get stronger."
Yeah, and Agio's brother or whoever it was, that looks like, I mean, he's pretty much wearing the outfit of one of the JoJo characters. So
Yeah,
like,
straight
that
up.
guy is straight up. And I spent like Josh made a joke about it, and I spent a lot of time looking at all the characters in the background, like, oh, is there anybody there? But I didn't.
Oh, there
I
was
didn't,
the Ryu looking guy.
I didn't see anybody that really stuck out that was like, oh, this is clearly this person. So it looks like he drew just a bunch of different random
Fighters.
people.
Which is cool.
Nice.
Yeah, because I feel like it
I-
would be pretty easy to cop out and do a lot of references, which I would have been totally down for.
Yeah, I like that stuff. I think it's fun.
Yeah, and like I don't really have like they didn't like we were talking about like at bat, and then a little bit with Neo-Genito where they kind of have like some scenes that could have been left on the cutting floor. This was very here you go. He fights.
Yeah.
He meets guy who invites him to boat. He goes to the boat. He gets his ass kicked, and then he gets saved, and the competition's about to begin. Very streamlined all the way through.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And they do a good job. It's like, okay, well, coming up next is tournament. Here you go. And it's like, oh, okay. It's like, hell yeah. It's like, let's do it. It's like, I know exactly
Training
where it's
arc.
going. And, it
Yeah.
could be a long tournament where there really could be a training arc in there as well. Like there's a lot of fucking people on that boat.
Yeah, because so if I go back and then read the description that they wrote, it's a battle-obsessed Angelo is invited to an underground tournament where the strongest fight to see who can overcome their competitors to prove they are the strongest in the world. Angelo will meet enemies, rivals, and lifelong friends before trying to overcome dark forces that play both external and internal.
Oh, okay. Cool.
So that's what they wrote down.
yeah.
And so that it just kind of paints a little bit more of a picture. I'm like, I
Yeah.
wonder if there's gonna be some shady stuff going on. Like,
But that description sounds pretty cool to like lead
Yeah.
into the other stuff. So that's good to know. I like that. So let's talk about all three and try and pick a winner. I feel like they were all very good this week, and
Mhm.
I agree.
all in their different
Fantastic element almost.
different element. Yeah, they were very good and not close to each other at all. So we did At Bat, and that's by Zach Hatling, which is of course Lord Gaius. Then we did Neo-Genitos, and the story is by Seven and art by Igazar. And then we finished with Arena Fighters, and that was by James Nash. Is there any of the three that immediately stick out as a forerunner to either two of you? Is there maybe alternatively one that you think is you could eliminate easily? Because I think they were all very good.
Yeah,
Yeah, this one was hard just because they were all complete different genres almost. And it's like I wanted to see just a tiny bit more of the At Bat one, just because I like the whole nod to the brother thing, and we're on this huge like sports high
Yeah,
for
yeah.
all of the manga
Yeah.
so far.
because if they do something similar, like I don't think it'll be Blue Lock level of like craziness, but at the same time, like they had that vibe, and it was like, okay, where could it go?
Yeah.
That was the only one I feel like it could kind of go nowhere. Like that could have been the whole story right there. It was just a one shot. I really like the art in it though, but
Art is fucking fantastic in that one.
it was. In Neo-Genitos is the opposite, where it's got like all the way, like you could fucking paint this thing all the way to the end. But I feel, and it had like great setup for story, like it had all these like plot lines and stuff. But at the end of the day, like I don't know if it's just because like the action part felt like it took more of a backseat. It wasn't like the top runner for me. Like there was still action, but it wasn't about the action. It was more about the story. I
So
like Arena
of the
Fighters too.
of the two for you, or of the three for you right now,
Yeah.
you would say is Neo-Genitos your least of the ones?
I would
like,
put it right now. I'm gonna put it at 3, even though, and I
Yeah,
fully agree
yeah.
with you. Like this whole week was super good. I'm like tossed up because I think At Bat is like Kazue is right. It's got hype for us, but Arena Fighters was like cool. Like it was just super fun.
Okay, Jose, what
Eh.
is there one for you that you can like easily eliminate? We could do it in reverse because once again,
But
they're all very good.
easily. So I was thinking about this all day, and I think for me it might be Neo-Genitos.
So you would do
I
that one
do-
as well.
Yeah, I do like it a lot. It's just the one was more of an actual one shot. The other two were more of a just one shot where they do set up a bit. But in terms, I felt like this one just had a little bit too much kind of going on at the same time.
As
Okay.
the person who took the notes for it, I fully agree.
I did like Neo-Genitos. I thought it was very good. And
I
it
did
is
too.
nice that it sets up, like, I feel like Neo-Genitos in particular, of the things that we've read, is very different compared to the rest
Yeah.
of everything.
Mhm.
And I like that stuff. I like the stuff where people fucking die and they get kidnapped immediately and that stuff.
And they did a good job of like world building without world building.
Yeah,
Like a full
I
thing.
thought that was super
Well, it's
cool,
like
'cause
that's the whole
normally-
thing with them
Yeah.
arresting like the fat guy in the beginning is like, look, it's like they fight monsters and they are actually just regular police guys.
Yeah.
It's like that's the level of the world that they're living in, and
They want
they
a
mention
fit
all kinds of
world.
other stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
so they set it up really well, and to the point where they set up this world and they're like, hey, there's second world that these other people are on.
Mhm.
So it's like, man, okay, holy shit. So that one I could see being, as you mentioned, long running as fuck. Like that one
Yeah.
could go far, which is not
Like,
a bad thing.
If they really want to fill that gap and they have this there, like, oh yeah, we've got a fucking storyline for
Mhm.
fucking years. I wouldn't agree with the One Piece. I just don't want to put that out into the world to have a second One Piece, you
Yeah.
know?
Two piece.
Okay, so let's focus on talking about Arena Fighters versus At Bat then. So one of them straight sports manga, pretty straight to the point. We have our loser MC that's not very good at it, and he eventually learns the technique and is fucking fantastic, and he has a bright future ahead of him. And we don't
Mhm.
know. So a couple things we don't know is I don't think we know how old he is. Do we know? So like, what is he in?
I don't think they ever really
Is he in a
talked about his age.
league, like a high school league, or like what is going on there? Like how serious can he really get about it?
Mhm.
And then we have Arena Fighter, which is just a straight battle shonen. It looks like straight to the core of this guy loves to fight, wants to learn fighting techniques, likes fighting strong people, gets invited to a fighting tournament, and they go on a boat and he gets his ass beat. So that's that one, which these are two very different yet kind of similar ones where we follow let's just say the weakest of the bunch trying to get to be really strong. So which one do you guys have one that you think you would like more if you base? Because obviously with At Bat, we have the two characters, right? We get to learn about his brother, who I would say is the other main character, and then his obviously RMC. And we get those two. In Arena Fighters, we just have Angela. That's the only person that we know. So we don't really get to meet too much of the other supporting cast until at the very end when we don't know who he's going to follow.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious because like At Bat, you think, oh, he's bad. He's finally learned he's going to get there. But you find out he's like super good at art. So he's got a second backup. And then he's also apparently fucking wicked good at defense. So like there was no point in him being good at bat, actually. It's just like that was the thing he wanted to be good at. Whereas Arena Fighters, like he's good. He's got like this cool mentality to it. And then he's going to now he's getting his ass kicked. And it's like, oh shit, is he going to be able to keep up?
Mm-hmm.
I liked it. They humbled him basically.
Yeah. And I feel like Arena Fighters has like, it's more fun, and it's going to go in a cool direction. Whereas At Bat, like, it was like a nice story, and I really did like it. But I feel like I would maybe more. I don't know. It's really hard because in Blue Lock they set it up like here it's gonna get fucking crazy. Here At Bat, it's just kind of like this was a great story, cool art scenes. This is kind of where it ends.
Well, it's like At Bat, so we do have to remember it is a one-shot competition,
Yeah.
which is the whole point of the thing. You're supposed to make a nice little one-shot. And as far as we know, At Bat could be the tip of the iceberg. Like, him hitting that ball could be like, I think I get it. And then he could immediately get fucking schooled. But it's like, you run into the next pitcher who's just like, yeah, that's bullshit. So sorry, dude. So we don't know. It's like, and that's one of the things, too, is At Bat ends pretty abruptly, I would say. It's like, yeah, here you go. He did it. Woo. And it's like, we don't know what the setup is or what's going forward. But once again, it is a one-shot. So I think that was pretty well contained.
Where he like jumps up to the back of the camera and it's like he went on to do this.
And then Arena Fighters is something that we've obviously I feel like was a little bit of the reverse, where he starts off really strong and then gets humbled to shit.
Yeah.
Where meanwhile our main character in At Bat was the opposite, where he starts off really shitty and then at the end he becomes really good.
This is a debacle.
Mm-hmm.
The shitty shonen gang in me is immediately pulling towards Arena Fighter.
Okay. Is that if you had to cast a vote, are you feeling Arena Fighters right now, Jose?
Yeah, I'm feeling Arena Fighters right now.
Okay, Josh?
I'm going to have to at that point, too. Yeah.
Okay. I would probably lean a little bit more towards either At Bat or Neo-Genitos would have been my top
Really?
two.
Okay.
I kind of like Neo-Genitos. It was gritty as fuck. But congratulations to Arena Fighters. They're the winner by 2 out of 3 vote. So James Nash, congratulations. Great artwork, great story. Looking forward to seeing where it goes next. I wonder if he's got more out already. I would love to know.
Yeah.
So be sure to leave a like and subscribe on the video. We'll be back. I think we're going to do this till the end of November. So somebody work out the math on that when this video comes out. We'll do end of November, and then we'll pick kind of our winner of all of the ones that we've chosen as the winner so far. And we'll kind of have our otaku winner because it seems like they might know who already won, and they're just not saying, so who knows? The only winner who mattered is the one that we pick, okay?
Well, I think we're going to have like 4 episodes that'll come
5.
out, and then 4 or 5, yeah. Yeah, if they pick one that we haven't read as the winner, we'll read it and give our review.
If they pick one that we didn't, bullshit. It's a defunct contest.
They didn't try hard enough.
Okay, well, thanks for watching. Once again, be sure to leave a like and subscribe. Let us know if you have a submission that we haven't read yet that you would like us to check out. We should be good on viewer submissions to get it through, but if you want to try and slide one in, we kind of just pick it random. Until then, we will see you guys next week with more viewer submissions or whatever we're doing next. Have a good one, and we'll see you then.